Hey witches, Jenny Love, the Rogue Witch from Broombrook and Candle. And today we're going to discuss something that's been on my mind a lot since I opened up a shop, a physical location shop. It's been kicking around a little bit in my mind before then. And I'm really doing this video to, one, get your opinion. What do you guys think? How do you react? Has it happened to you? I also am sort of still working it all out in my mind. I'm very open-minded. I can always learn something. I don't pretend to be an expert in anything. So anything that anybody says, any sort of constructive criticism is totally welcome. And I'm going to talk to you about what happened. My partner and I both had an incident happen last weekend at a Beltane event. We vended. We're not doing too much vending anymore. This is what we used to do, is we used to do vending events. I've been doing events by myself for years. And my partner and I got together because we have similar interests and talents, and then opposite sort of talents that complement one another. So we got together, we started vending together. Now we've opened a shop. We have a home base, which is fantastic, in Highland Falls, New York. But there's a particular festival that we love. It's actually one of the first festivals I ever vended years ago. And it was the first festival event that my partner Erin and I vended together. It was like our anniversary, which was sort of fun. So this is run by Breed's Closet in Cornwall, New York. Bernadette, Montana runs this event every year. It was the 10th anniversary, and we couldn't miss it, so we were vending it. So that's the very long story as to why the chicks are vending an event when they have a shop. So I titled this video, "So When Witches Rip You Off," because I have a lot of thoughts about that. When we're in such a community full of uber talented individuals that do their own thing and make their own stuff, because that's really what witches do. You have a candle spell to do, you do your own thing. We read tons of books, and we all love the research, and we love the books and the things and the paraphernalia that come with being a witch. But we put our own spin on everything, and then things snowball. You have a fresh look on something. You put it out into the world. You're an artist. You know, whatever that is, you're putting your soul into something and having it go off into the universe. So I have lots of thoughts on this. We'll get to my stories in a minute. But I would like to start with one story about myself sort of fucking things up. Because I'm human, and that's where this starts. I make incense bottles. It goes along with recycle, reuse, rethink mentality that the chicks have. That's sort of our battle cry, is walk softly on the earth. So I take recycled wine bottles. My whole community knows that this is what I do. And they get me bottles. People drop bottles off where I work. People drop bottles off at the shop. And you drill a hole in the bottom, and you have an incense bottle. You use it. I don't even have any at my house because they're all at my shop. So I can't even give you an example. I'll put some pictures up. I had one of these things when I was a teenager. This exact there was, I believe, a sticker on it. I can't remember. Maybe it was a peace sign. Maybe it was a triquetra. I don't know, but there was some sticker on it, and I used it for incense. You use it for stick incense. You put it in the bottle. The ash falls in the bottle, and the smoke comes out. I started, being that I'm a tarot card reader, I started putting tarot cards on the front of them. Mainly the Rider White, because it's so universally the tarot card genre. Like, you know, you may have your favorite deck, but that is all things tarot cards. So I was putting the major arcana or whatever card you wanted. I did a few Three of Cups, stuff like that. And I was putting tarot cards on the front of them. And I made one for my cousin. And it started with making them for people, making them for friends, making them for gifts. And it snowballed from there. And then before I knew it, I was vending events. And I was actually sitting at the events and making them custom. And here's where I fucked up. I made one for my cousin as a gift. And I put a picture. She found a picture of the Morgan that she liked. And I put it on there. And I did post. This is very early on in me doing this, is years ago. So I posted a picture of it online. And actually the Sea Priestess tagged Laura Dalian in it because it was one of her prints, which it wasn't even the whole picture that my cousin had given me. So I had no idea. I'm totally green at this. I have no idea about the drama, and then that's the wrong word. I have no idea about the trials and tribulations of an artist putting their work out into the world and how people ripping them off. Hence this video. I know Joey Morris has talked about this. I've actually confessed my bullshit to Joey Morris. She's like, you have a set of balls, girl. You really do. Because I really didn't know. And I sent Laura Dalian a email, and she could have been cooler. She was like, I just would love it if you tagged me in it saying that the artwork was by me. And I was like, oh, yeah, I get that. Like, I didn't get that. So I get that now, right? So I learned something in my ignorance. I learned something. And now before I use artwork on a bottle, I will contact the artist. I use these little cartoony painting mermaids on my bottles. The artist, she calls them the Chubby Mermaid, and I'll tag her Facebook in the down bar for you if you want to find things for her. I actually contacted her. She thought it was a great idea. Yeah, have at it. Put them on there. She loved it. You know, I'm small potatoes, so it was more of a way to get, and I tag her when I do a bottle by her, or on the table I tag her when I'm doing a festival or what have you. So anyway, integrity is really, I think, where this conversation is going when witches rip you off, because you know who you are and you know what you do. You know the standards and you know the staples. Everybody makes a candle. Everybody makes a spell candle, intention candle. You may have a new spin on it. Everybody makes a mojo bag, gree bag. I mean, there's a common thread in lots of things that are the staples. Incense, staple. Smudge, staple. Wire wrapping, staple. So here's where shit happens in my life now. I am a sound therapist, and I have a class about 1.5 years ago where I talk about sound therapy. There's a meditation at the end. I explain how vibrationally, color has vibration, crystals have vibrations, obviously singing bowls, tuning forks have vibration, and how that can help heal you. It correlates to my bottles. I have wire wrapped crystals on top of the bottles to further the vibration effect of the smoke when you have some incense burning in your house. So you have bottles, you have an incense bottle, you have a custom made by me, you want Hecate, Pan, you want your deity, your ancestors, whatever it is you want on your bottle that I'm custom making for you and creating for you. I will then pick a crystal, you could pick a crystal, you could give me a crystal, and I will wire wrap it, and there's a clip, and it sits in the top of the bottle. Now the smoke comes out, hits that vibration, and now that is enhancing the magic, basically. And at my class, I have my bottles for sale, and I explain this. And there's a woman in my class 1.5 years ago. So back to my Beltane story. 30 people came up to me to tell me I was getting ripped off. Lots of people make incense bottles. Yeah, my feathers weren't even ruffled in the slightest. But by the 30th person to come up to me to tell me I'm getting ripped off, I have to go and see what's happening. And it's this woman in my community from my class. I see her twice a week. I actually work at the shop where she buys her crystals from, and I'm selling them to her, ringing her up, laughing with her, have a great day, good to see you, blah, blah, blah. As she walks out the door to make incense bottles, and she wire wraps crystals and puts them on the tops. Same as me. So here's my dilemma. Here's why I'm telling you all this. What do? Do you not say anything? Is there enough abundance for everybody to do their thing? Has she been called to make these incense bottles for people? Does she know why I make these incense bottles for people? She took 4 years of my evolution, 5 years of how my incense bottles and my business have grown and evolved, and she stuck it at Beltane, at my special Beltane festival that I vend every year. So what do? Do you sound like it's sour grapes? Do you say something? Are you mad? Do you badmouth her? Like, see, these are the problems that I have. My partner had the same thing happen. She developed a crystal necklace. She's a brilliant jewelry designer, and she, during the time in January when Standing Rock was heavily in the news, my boss from the Dreaming Goddess packed an RV and went to Standing Rock. It was very prevalent in our area. We also have water issues in a nearby town where a nearby water source has been contaminated by an airport. The whole town's it's like Flint, Michigan. It's insanity, and we're very involved in the being water protectors around here. We go to the Hudson River and have water ceremonies once a month. We were doing it in the freezing winters. Crazy. So my partner developed a necklace. It's a round, like marble size, quartz crystal. And the way she wraps it in copper, it looks like a water droplet. Half the proceeds were going to Standing Rock, to the medical tent. We were sending half the money for these necklaces to Standing Rock. There was a woman at Beltane who's local. Now, we don't know her. She's not in my community as this other woman who makes the incense bottles is sort of in my community. I see her twice a week. She attends functions I attend. This woman with the necklace, she even used the same wording as my partner, Erin, used in promoting. And she was going to be a Beltane. We were like, this was before I found out about the bottles. So again, what do? Do you say something? There's a collective mind. I subscribe to that. We witches are all tapped in. We have a collective mind. There's a web. When this web vibrates over here, it travels through the web. Can people have the same idea at the same time? Absolutely. But it seemed a little strange. So my partner just asked her what was her creative process, and then it showed her version, and the woman's was flabbergasted and was shocked and said, wow, I can't believe we came up with the same idea at the same time. Her idea was 6 months later. I have since looked at all of her work. None of it looks like that. She has a style. I don't believe she's a jewelry maker. I believe she resells jewelry. Am I talking fact and not feeling? So we let that go. I say we. What are you going to do? You can't copyright a wire wrapping, a style. So we moved on. Same thing with the bottles. I said I was snarky. I couldn't hide it. I admit it. My snarky got the best of me, and I walked up, shocked. Couldn't see anything else in her tent but these bottles, and I said that they were beautiful And she said, thank you. And I said, because they look exactly like the ones I make. And she said, no, they don't. Again, I'm speaking in fact. I was totally snarky. I walked away. By the end of the day, I was laughing about it. We were all sort of joking about it. I decided I would not vend anything she vended at. I would have to make sure that her and I were not at the same place. Excuse me. And that I wasn't going to say anything. I actually went to work the next day at the shop she frequents twice a week. We're actually in the same herbal class, her and I, which is hysterical. I'm in the Saturday class, she's in the Sunday class. The class actually got so big they had to break it into two. So I sat next to her 2 weeks ago at herbal class because I attended the Sunday version of the class because I couldn't make Saturday. And I sat next to her, and I had no idea she was vending, making things, gonna be at Beltane, never said a word. She's on my page, my Broom Book and Candle page. She isn't anymore. But these are all facts. Again, I'm not, that's a fact. I sat next to her and I had no idea that she was even in the craft business. I had no idea. So I walked away thinking, well, I'm just not gonna, if she wants to do me, let her do me. What am I gonna do? There's enough abundance for everybody. Do I sound like a crybaby? You know, sour grapes. I went to work the next day at the store she goes to twice a week, and I said nothing to anyone, and I moved on. And then Monday morning, the herbal class was going on a field trip, and I really wanted to make sure she wasn't going because I'm not in the mood. I got better things to do than to just have that sort of nonsense in my field, in my world. I know who I am. I know what I do, and I was moving on. And so I went on our herbal page and I noticed she unfriended me. And then I heard she was posting about integrity. And admittedly, I was off to the races. And again, I posted publicly on Facebook what happened. I didn't have any feelings about it. I posted the facts as I've just explained them to you. So I know this is like a long-winded, rambly sort of video to like get to the point of what do you do when witches rip you off? Is it a collective mind? Can people have the same ideas at the same time? My very dear friend and I, Luna from Luna Enchanted, had the same idea at the same time. I was working at my shop before we opened. I had a month to prepare before we opened, and I made this candle bar. It's like a magic bar, intention bar, where at the moment you can make intention candles. I have all different size candles, all different herbs you can choose from, all different oils you can choose from, books, tools. You come in, you make your candle, you go. Costs you what it costs you just to use the bar. You can use whatever you want. So you don't have to buy a whole thing of rosemary. You need, as you make an intention candle, you need a pinch. You could make a really decent Coach candle for $13. As opposed to having to go out and buy all the paraphernalia for the intention candle, you can come to my shop and use the candle bar. And my partner, my friend Luna, she came up with the same idea. It was already in my shop, like working, and she texts me to tell me I have this idea, and we were shocked. And she came into the shop the next day to see it. Like I actually had it there because we weren't open yet, and we were shocked. So can a good idea happen to the same people? Yes, I wholeheartedly. And if I didn't have it happen to me, maybe I wouldn't know. Could you rip somebody off and not have intended to rip somebody off? Was your intention not to rip somebody off? Yes, I've done that. I told you the Laura Dalian story. So could this woman have come up with this idea to do bottles, put wire wrapping crystal on top, after seeing my page for 4.5, 5 years, attending my class, sitting next to me in herbal class? I mean, yeah, I guess. And I like I said, I had nothing. I was going to say nothing. Just didn't want to be where she was. didn't want to attend the same events if she was going to attend events or anything. But when she posted about integrity, I felt attacked. And I'm not a doormat. So I felt the need to say something because I value my integrity. And I think that if you come up with an idea that's similar to somebody else's idea, but you know you came up with it, and it's true to you and you made it. I mean, I make an empowerment oil. How many people make an empowerment oil? I don't even know because I'm not going to go out and research it to find out, but I make one. It's in my little shop. You come in Highland Falls, New York, into the apothecary, and I have this empowerment oil. Can you go somewhere else and they make one? Yeah, maybe. I have no idea. I suppose. Did I rip somebody off? Did I go look up what somebody else had in it? No. And I know that, so I'm going to move on from that. If somebody actually texted me to call me a hack to tell me I ripped them off, you know, I would politely explain to them my whole process behind coming up with that empowerment oil. I guess you could, like a shishi oil. That's sort of a standard, a recipe that you've come up with or a way you make it. Black salt, it's a standard. I make black salt. I sell it in my shop. Did I invent black salt? No. Do I have a corner market on it? No. I do my thing, my spin, my way, and I go on. Back to the title. What do you do when witches rip you off? I'd love to hear what you guys have to say, because it's becoming more prevalent in my world right now that I do something and find it later, or I have a way of doing something and see it. Is it collective mind? Am I getting ripped off? Do you say something? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I just felt the need to come up with that, I guess, and see how I feel about all of this. I'm going to keep doing me. I sold 6 bottles this week. I think that was the universe telling me, you're doing the right thing. I have 2 custom orders for incense bottles, and my partner gets requested to do custom jewelry on a daily basis. So we're doing our thing. It's not affecting us. But I don't know how to proceed, I guess. She sees me as somewhat of a bully, and I guess someone that doesn't have integrity. I don't really see how that is, since I've been making these bottles for years. I 100% came up with the wire wrapping, the crystals, 100%. Because when I tell you 30 people came up to me to tell me, oh my God, she's ripping you off. Like, not the incense bottles really, but those tops are all you. And the same thing with this necklace that my partner made. Like, the words that this woman used to describe the necklace, she used Standing Rock as a buzzword about a droplet of water and clean water. None of her proceeds were going to actually water protectors. She just was selling the necklace. But again, we didn't know what to do. So do you act like a doormat? Do you say nothing? Do you stand in your integrity? Do you stand up for yourself? You know, I posted something on Facebook. I never do that. I don't air my dirty laundry on Facebook. I don't air my dirty laundry on YouTube either. But I'm actually asking for sort of advice on this one. I don't air my dirty laundry on Facebook. And I actually reeled it in. I actually sort of felt sorry for her. It was like I unleashed the flying monkeys on this woman, because my people rallied behind me like you have no idea. My friend Cheryl drew her sword. Like, she was all over it. And I actually, by the end of the day, I took the post down. I actually felt bad for her, because I thought, oh my God, she's getting reamed all over the place. Like, she could not have turned on her Facebook and not seen pictures of my bottles or my friends reposting them, and just they were stellar. So that said something to me too. But I took it down. I felt bad. And then when people ask me about it, like I said, I don't want to keep talking about it, as I don't want to invest any energy in, but what do you do? Happens all the time. People post about it. Someone rips you off. What do you do? Do you say something? Do you just keep doing you? Is there enough abundance in the universe for everybody? If I'm doing true to me and I'm going to go off and do my thing, the universe will provide. Screw her and what she's doing. She wants to keep making my incense bottles. Okay. Whatever. I don't know. This is a very long video to just basically ask a question. Maybe I'll discuss this more with Miss Ravenflower on May 23rd when we have our live chat. That would be awesome. So yeah, tune into Ravenflower and I on May 23rd. We're going to be having a chat, and I would love to hear some video responses about what do you do when witches rip you off. So as always, you guys go get your witch on with integrity. Bye.